Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher. And for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're diving back into Why Are You? We're jumping into episode 11. And I've been going back and forth debating this with myself all morning because obviously, if we're on episode 11, I reacted to episode 10 last, and that's when Tudor and Fighter were having their last day at the beach and they were coming back home. And you guys let me know down in the comments, a couple episodes actually back, that Saifa and Zone had their own little series of just personal episodes put together after the fact, because this was around the time frame when COVID-19 was first outbreaking, and it made recording things terribly, terribly difficult. So the reasons that the last two episodes had focused so much on Tudor and Fighters, because those scenes had already been filmed, had already been shot. So they just put those things together and put it out. And then after the series finished, then we went back and did some Zone sci-fi stuff and whatnot. So I was debating whether to continue watching this or to jump into the Zone Sci-Fi story, because it's just like a little 3-episode arc. And I was going to react to that first, because like in my head I had it that it was going to be like run kind of parallel with the last 2 episodes I just watched. So while Tudor and Fighter were at the beach, the Zone Sci-Fi story was going to run parallel in that sort of time frame, and then jumping into episode 11 is when everything was going to come right back. But then I was looking online and I couldn't really find any information to confirm that. So I didn't want to run the risk of that not being the case, and then me watching the Zone Sci-Fi set of episodes and then them reveal some information that happens in these later episodes. So as much as I want to see that Zone Sci-Fi stuff, I'm gonna have to wait. So I'm gonna dive into episode 11 now. I'll finish out the series, and then after I finish out the series, I'll go look at the Zone Sci-Fi stuff. So we're gonna dive into episode 11 and just see where things go.
รายการต่อไปนี้เหมาะสำหรับ
Okay. Well, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. Which I expected to comment in some way, shape, or form, because like I've been saying last few episodes, we still had like 4 or 5, however many episodes left in the series, and everything seemed to be in too good of a place to just stay happy and consistent all the way through to the end. Like, there had to be some conflict that arose in order to have some big final conflict for us to overcome in the end, and we can have our big happy ending or whatever at the end. Maybe we won't get a happy ending, I don't know. But anyway, like I felt like there was something that needed to rise. So this is our conflict, and I have mixed feelings about it. Like, as I've said a number of times throughout this episode, like, I don't understand why Fighter's dad and Hwa's mom are so fucking invested in who they're dating. Like I'm not gonna say I understand where his dad's coming from, but it's not anything new. Like, it's not a brand new scenario or anything. It's a scenario I've seen a million times over. You know, the overprotective parent, or the parent who wants to see their kid live a normal life and, you know, settle down with a girl and get married and have kids and all that kind of stuff and carry on his lineage and all that stuff, you know, all that whatever. So it's not anything that I haven't seen before. It's not anything that's new or surprising to me, but still, like, I just don't understand why. I just don't understand why they're so invested. especially Ha's mama at this point, because like Juan's dating somebody else. She's moved on today. Like, I don't know if Juan's told her mama or not. I feel like that's something that I would like if my mom was so involved in my dating life to the point where, you know, I'm sitting here telling her to go tell my boyfriend's daddy to tell my boyfriend not to break up with me or whatever. Like if my mom was that invested in my dating life, I feel like I would have told her that, hey, you know, I'm okay. Things with me and fight are done, but I've moved on. There's someone who actually loves me, and I like him back too. You know, I'm dating this guy gay. Like, I figured that conversation would happen. So the fact that Hua has been dating someone for, you know, quite a little bit of time, maybe, you know, it hasn't been an extreme amount of time, but long enough for her to feel good about her relationship and for her to be over, you know, the drama with, you know, Fighter. It's like, why do you care? Like, why do you care if Fighter is dating one of your daughter's friends or Fighter's dating someone? Why do you care who Fighter's dating? Your daughter ain't got no interest in him. What the hell do you care? I don't know. Don't make no sense to me. I don't understand why these parents are so damn involved. But yeah, like I said, I liked how he handled that initial walking in on on Fighter and Tudor. He didn't cause a scene or anything. He just knock on the door, gave them some time to resettle, and just came in to, you know, say whatever he had to say. And then, you know, he had his little mini conversations in the kitchen, and then again at Tudor's job, and again he didn't make any kind of real threat, which is where my headspace is kind of like Tudor, who gives a fuck? What, like, just date your man, like. But like, on the same token, yes, he's young. He's like, well, he's not that damn young. I'm sitting here thinking he's in high school. No, he's in college. These are college level kids, so they're old enough to drink. They're old enough to drink, and they're in college, so they've got some, you know, higher level of maturity than a high school kid. I was gonna say that, you know, he's just a kid, and, you know, he's a little naive or susceptible to, you know, what his seniors are telling him, and, you know, you pay respect to your seniors and all that jazz. But no, I'm thinking about it. No, that's bullshit. Like, his dad didn't say anything. It wasn't like a threat. He never threatened anything. He just said, hey, unless there's an issue with the translation. You guys have let me know down in the comments that there are some episodes or some parts of episodes that, you know, certain videos get weird translations and whatnot. And so maybe that was a translation error in that particular scene. But I'm just going off the translation that I have. So if there was a translation error, you can let me know down in the comments. But if not, like, Daddy never threatened anything. All he said was, it's for my family's happiness. So you can either stay away from my son, or I'll give you money. So, like, for me, like, if I were in the situation where there is this person that I love, we just came back from this amazing, you know, life-changing, relationship-building vacation. We've, you know, decided that, yes, we love each other. We express those feelings to each other, and decided to embark and move forward into this relationship. The last thing that I'm gonna do is have somebody tell me to stop seeing this person for an aimless reason and not really give me any motivation to do it. Like, saying this for my family's happiness, well, he seems happy to me, so the only person who seems unhappy at the moment is you, and I'm not trying to date you, so I don't give a fuck. Bye. And, he says he wants to see his son, live a, normal life or whatever, and, settle down with a wife and kids and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sitting here thinking, you're not exactly the prime example, aren't you? Because I'm assuming that Hua's mama is not his birth mama. So you out here dating somebody else, trying to control him and her daughter's dating life and whatnot. You're not exactly a prime example of a normal, steady relationship kind of life. Okay, so I lead by example. So I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. Like, it's just, I don't know. So for me, like, the whole situation doesn't seem to really need to be a situation in my head. Like, there's nothing that his daddy said that if I were Tudor would I'd want to listen to in the first place, but that would make me feel like I needed to stop seeing his son, or that made me feel like what I and his son have is wrong. There's just nothing about anything that happened between Tudor and Fight's dad that would end the relationship for me if I were Tudor. So yeah, it just feels like I don't completely understand Tudor's headspace and where he is and how he's thinking. Like, I know he feels misunderstood and he feels like everything is a struggle and he's always having to fight and struggle to get through life. I get that. And yes, that mentality can kind of weigh heavily on a person's heart, weigh heavily on their head, and they just always feel like they've got the weight of the world on their shoulders. And yes, I get it. So, he doesn't want to have to struggle. He doesn't want to have to always have to fight. He doesn't want to have to go through. Sometimes he just wants he doesn't want to get hurt. He just wants things to be easy for once. He just wants to live his life and just not have to worry about these things. I get it. But running away like this just isn't. It's not the answer. And like, I just feel, again, it comes down to communication. Now, I know Fight's dad said not to tell Fight, and Tudor came back with a very good point, like, hey, if this is a family matter, maybe you should go talk to Fighter about this. Maybe you should go have that conversation before you start. And he's like, then Daddy's like, you know how he is, and blah 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 blah. And I'm like, well, yeah, if you know how he is. I just don't like it. I don't like it. I'm like, I don't know. Part of it just feels, I don't know, part of it just feels kind of forced. Like, we're forcing this narrative, we're forcing this drama in because we need some level of drama to have this final arc before we get to the last episode. I don't know, it just feels, I feel like if this was the route they wanted to go down, where we need to break them up for whatever reason, there just needed to be something more motivating on the line. I just felt like there wasn't enough motivation to drive Tudor to be this emotional and just end it right there. Like, it just, I don't know. It's not like someone's life was on the line, or he threatened to, get him fired, or threatened to take away his house or anything like that. Like, right now, Tudor, from what I understand, I don't think Tudor has any real financial issues. Like, P-Fight already done paid off his loan or whatever, however many episodes back in the rain before they started making out, all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't think he has that lingering debt over his head anymore. So I feel like he's working to, support himself, yes, working to, pay his bills that he has here, but I don't think he has this looming, lingering debt over his head that he needs to worry about. So it's not like he needs, this money to be paid. Like, I just feel like there's not enough motivation to justify the reaction that Tudor is taking in this situation. So yeah, we'll have to see how that resolves itself. But good things about this episode. I got to see my baby Zone and Sci-Fi again, which I'm super happy about because, especially with a little disclaimer at the beginning of the episode, saying, COVID-19 virus has caused some of the scenes not to be complete. I just wasn't expecting to see them. I was expecting to just be another episode completely about Tudor and Fight. And that's how it seemed to be at first. Like, for the first, half of it, it was all them. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll just have to watch the Zone Sci-Fi, storylines after the fact and fill in the blanks there. But no, I got a little Zone action, I got a little Sci-Fi action, got some Hua up in there too. So I don't know how deep into the pandemic this was filmed, because Zone was close. He was close to Tudor in their scene. Tudor and Fight were close to Hua in her scene. Zone was close to Sci-Fi in their scene. So people were within close proximity of one another. So I don't know if these scenes, it says the scenes weren't complete. So maybe there were more things that needed to be shot. Maybe these were shot well in advance. I don't know. But either way, I was happy to see them. I was happy to see other people. I was just happy to see them because, I'm always happy to see my Zone and Sci-Fi, even if my Sci-Fi is sick, but still, it was cute. We got cute interactions, Zone taking care of him, and, just doting on him and just being just adorable. And like I said, he just has that adorable little quality where he does this quick little smirk thing, for a second and a half or whatever, and it's the most adorable thing. I just want to hug him. I want to hug him at all times. Hug him and keep him safe. But yeah, I was glad to see them, and yeah, I'm guessing they gave us a little flashback when Tudor was tutoring that one guy, Noon, I think it was. And he had the phone call, then he went to the bathroom to kind of avoid the conversation, and Noon was snooping through his phone, which I'm like, hey, who the hell are you? But also, B, Tudor, why the hell don't you have fucking code on your phone? Common sense. So all this could have been avoided if he just locked his phone like a normal human being, but, can't undo the past. So I guess that guy took the picture or texted the picture to somebody, maybe to himself. I don't know, because that's the only time that they showed the picture being seen by somebody else, and it didn't feel like Tudor was gone for that long of a period of time. But then again, they could have just done a cut to when Tudor came back, so I don't really know how long he had the phone. But either way, I don't know what his motivation was in all of this. What would be driving him to care about whether Tudor was dating somebody, and if Tudor is dating somebody, why it would be his business to spread. I don't understand that guy's motivation in this world, because I don't know who the hell he is. So I don't know why he cares about anything to do with Tudor's personal life and the fact that he may or may not be dating Fight or what. I don't know. A few things I don't understand. But the interaction that we had with Tudor, Hua, and Fighter was super duper adorable. I loved Hua, keeping up her brave, not really brave, but keeping up her serious face in whenever she was facing Fighter, and then as soon as she would turn away, she'd just kind of break her character, because she's living right now and she wants all the tea, and just hey, can we go to dinner, just the two of us? And then as soon as Fighter was gone, they were just besties again, spilling the tea back and forth. I'm like, y'all better have your friendship here. Adorable. I mentioned it a couple times throughout the episode, and I'll mention it again. Tudor, or I should say Saint, acting fantastic. There were so many moments in the eyes, so many moments where his eyes were just saying everything. After that first scene that he had with Fighter, after he had spoken with his dad, when Fighter was just lingering around, it's like, hey, I called you 10 times yesterday and 10 times this morning. How come you're not answering my calls? When he was facing Fighter, it was just, he was normal, normal. Oh yeah, I'm just tired, blah blah blah. And literally the second he turned away, and he was facing back to Fighter, but his eyes were facing towards camera, you could just see all of the emotion welling up in his eyes, like he had just put on the performance of his life to hold himself together, to hold all of his emotions in while he was talking to Fighter. And now that he's not facing Fighter, he is on the verge of just breaking and letting it all out. So then he just has to get out of there. He has to escape before Fighter says anything. So powerful, so well done, so well acted. And then again in that last scene with Fighter and Tudor, again, same thing, where it was like you could see the battle in Tudor's face. You could see the battle in his eyes. You could see the back and forth. You could see him holding things in and trying to put on a brave face. And then you can see him just on the verge of breaking down. And then that last bit after they separated and he was just breaking down and crying into his hands, even though they had it more or less muted, like they had Tudor and Fighter's audio muted and they just had the music playing in the background while we were cutting between the two of them, like I could still hear everything. I could hear every sob, every cry, and he's putting his hand over his mouth because he's trying to, again, keep up that act, keep that brave face, and not let Fighter hear him cry. He doesn't want Fighter to hear him cry. He doesn't want Fighter to see him cry. He is just trying to get Fighter to go and move on, and he's just trying to hold it in, and he is, oh god, like the acting was so good. And then even like I was sitting here thinking in that scene, like Tudor's really the only person in the series, aside from Hua when she went on like her little temper tantrum, but Tudor's really the only person in the series that I've seen whose characters had to really tap into this wide range of emotions. Like everywhere, all the other characters so far have been, yeah, like they might, have certain scenarios where they have to, jump out of their normal character, but for the most part, like Zone has been neurotic and Adachi all over the place. Saifa's been cool, calm, collected the whole damn time. Fighter has been, kind of cocky, kind of arrogant, a little mushy and romantic, but he's been that the whole damn time. Tudor has been his Tudor character, but he's been happy, he's been sad, he's been in love, he's been in pain, he's been up, down, all around. He's had to go through this full range roller coaster of emotions a number of times throughout the series. And when in that last scene, I was just sitting here like, man, the Saint must be exhausted, because he is just carrying the emotional weight of this show so heavily. He's the only character who's really had to do that so far. And then literally like 20 seconds later, after Fighter let go of his hands and started to walk away, and they were cutting back and forth between the two of them, then all of a sudden Fighter, or Z I should say, like he's like, okay, Topher, you sitting here saying in your head that Saint the only person up in here giving you any kind of, emotion. Well, let me show you something. And then he started breaking down, but it wasn't like he was just crying for the sake of crying or because the scene dictated crying. Like he was emotional, but it was still within the character of Fighter. Like he wasn't crying like an overacting, like sobbing mess, like no, it was still in the character of Fighter. He was still very, strong and kind of stoic in a sense, and like but he just had to stop and just like and then like that wasn't enough to regain his composure, to contain his tears, and he the emotion just started pouring out of him, not nearly to the degree that it was for Tudor. Tudor was a crying, crumbling mess over there because Tudor's had an extremely hard life and he's going through all kinds of shit right now. But still, like, that just gave me another level of just like, oh my god, these actors are so good at what they're doing. They're so good at portraying these characters. Even if I don't necessarily agree with the motivations in the script right now, still the acting is fantastic, and I love the chemistry between them. And especially like in their, like, you guys have let me know in like the last couple episodes that there are a lot of moments that they have as a couple that have been improvised by either one or the other or both of them in the moment. Like, you know, the little Adam's apple kiss a couple episodes back, or like a kiss in the car or something at the beginning of another episode. And like, I think someone put down in the comments that there was one point where they were filming some of the hot and heavy sexy scenes or whatever, where the crew had to pause them and separate them and go send them to cool down because things were getting a little too hot and heavy. I'm like, okay, well, where's the director's cut of this show? Because I need to see things for educational purposes, for science, for the sake of science, and things and other things. But yeah, like, the chemistry between them, it just feels so real, and they're just these little moments where they're just looking at each other, or where they're holding each other's hand, or where they're just, you know, booping each other on the nose, or just quick peck on the cheek, or forehead kiss, or whatever. Just these little things that, you know, well, like I said, they're little things. They're not these huge things, but they add so much character. They add so much depth to the relationship, to the chemistry that we're seeing on screen, and it just makes it so much more believable. So yeah, the actors themselves are doing a fantastic job. The chemistry between them, Tudor and Friday, chemistry between Zone and Zypha, like, it's just amazing. I love seeing them interact with one another. I don't necessarily agree with the motivations in the script and where things are taking them right now, but I love them as actors and as characters, and yeah. So overall, those are my general thoughts. And yeah, we'll just have to wait and see where things go. Also, Tudor's boss, love him to death. Fantastic man. He tried to talk some sense into Fighter's dad, which, like, you could see some of what he was saying hitting Fighter's dad in a certain way, but at the same time, like, he told him, you're closed-minded. That's why you're not seeing these things. You're closed-minded, and you don't want to open your mind. And one of the hardest things to do is try to open the mind of a closed-minded person. So I don't feel like what he was saying or that conversation is going to be enough to fully reach Fighter's dad, but there was enough there to jar him a little bit and to maybe get him thinking, maybe get him to have a conversation with Fighter. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But I love that he's treated Tudor really like family in the times that I've seen him thus far. And like, I love how protective he is. Yeah, love it.